now. You're good.
Perfect. Thank you. So welcome everybody. I see several that have joined, and I know several are going to watch the recording of this. But today we are going to speak with Sue Porter from Twice about the newly updated website CAPSpace and its exciting collaboration tools that it has. So Sue, you can take it away.
Okay, thank you. I am going to move to my PowerPoint and tell you a story. Whoops, first of all, I have to share. Okay. And I'm hoping everybody can see that. Okay, good. We will start. Okay. CAPSpace is the new site, and Twice is the organization that created CAPSpace, and it stands for Collaborations Around the Planet, and I'm going to explain all of that and all of the acronyms as we go through here. As I said, Twice is the organization it started in Michigan, but now we have 6 states represented on our board. Janine Lim and I were the founders of Twice way back in 2001. And so it's an organization that's been around for a number of years. And as I say, we're happy now that we are getting more representation. There are so many good video conferencing people out there doing so many fun things. It's nice to have, you know, a board represented by more than just Michigan. Okay. Now this one's not changing. There we go. So Twice actually was the kernel of the idea, started in Michigan with some distance learning coordinators, and we ran a program called Michigan Collaborative, where we matched 4th grade classes all across the state. And if you're familiar with Michigan at all, you know, we have this Upper Peninsula that people don't always think of as part of our state, but it is a great place for so many of our Lower Peninsula students love to connect to students in the Upper Peninsula. So we started, and we were doing that exchange during Michigan History Week between the 4th graders. And there were a number of distance learning coordinators from around the state who were involved in that group. And I think it was then that Janine and I said, you know, we really need something more formal than just this one week. So we founded Twice in 2001 with many of those distance learning coordinators who were part of that group. And we wanted to expand the idea of the Michigan connections and came up with the Read Across America, which we did in conjunction with the National Education Association, because we thought it would be pretty cool if you could really read across America. Many of the NEA projects take place locally, and we wanted to expand that. So we used the idea of the Michigan Collaborative and matched classes from across the United States. In 2006, we had friends in the UK and in Canada had said, hey, we like to read too. Could we join your project? And so we changed the name then to Read Around the Planet, or as we affectionately call it now, RAP. And we have many participants from Canada, the UK, and we have also had students from Australia or classes from Australia, Germany, Costa Rica, Guatemala, and Lebanon. So it's been a Read Around the Planet. So Read Around the Planet is our kind of our signature activity, and it takes place usually the last week of February, the first week of March. And we did that intentionally because March is reading month. Dr. Seuss's birthday is also March 2nd. And in the UK, they have a World Book Day on March 5th. So it kind of coincides with all of those reading activities. And we thought it would be a great time to celebrate reading. So we provide the registration tool, which is the website CAPSpace, and we match the classes. And then we also have some supporting documents, activities that you can do during your connection, a packet for coordinators, etc. It's open to all pre-K through 12 students. Anybody who has video equipment, H.323, and there's no charge for this event. You may participate in English, Spanish. We will match 2 Spanish classes, 2 English as a second language classes, or even 2 special ed classes. And we have been doing that since 2006. So I think since 2000, we started in 2002. So we're in our 16th year this year of Read Around the Planet. CAPSpace then became our registration site, and it seemed as if it was such a waste to just do it once, use it once a year when we were registering for Read Around the Planet. So because we were gathering information about educators, about the equipment they had, we decided to expand what you could do in CAPSpace. And if you look at the top of that slide, on the left is the old logo, and the right is the new logo on the new space. So it really is a nice database of K-12 educators who are using video conferencing. Our website address is www.twicecapspace.org. So why CAPSpace? Well, it is a social networking tool for those H.323 systems, either cloud, CART units. We have a wide variety of equipment being used in CAPSpace. You can create and advertise your own collaborative project, and you can also register for events such as the collaborative events or Read Around the Planet, some Ask programs, seasonal collaborations, and I'm going to explain all of those in a few minutes. These are many of the activities we have in CAPSpace. Collaborations, as I said, and we'll talk a little bit more of that, the Twice Ask programs, some seasonal collaborations, some professional development, and of course, Read Around the Planet. One of the highlights of our site is the collaborations. And anyone can post a collaboration. It's a great idea for teachers to use. When you have a unit, you can share it with another class. You can ask for them to share. You can, exchange ideas. You can send artifacts back and forth. There's just so many ideas, and these teachers out there are so creative. You can see a few that are being advertised now, and there are many more, and I encourage you to go in and take a look. So why a collaborative project? Well, it's a great way to connect to the world outside of your community. We experience that a lot in Read Around the Planet. If you're a northern school connected to a southern school, the first thing the kids in the South want to know is how much snow do you have? And if you're in the northern school, the first thing they want to know is how hot is it where you are? So everybody's looking to find out what's going on in the other parts of the country. It also offers your students an opportunity to have, to have a diverse connection with other students. They are an authentic audience. So if you're doing presentations or doing a debate or something, it's nice to have that audience. And students often will really raise the bar in their performances because they don't want to look bad in front of their peers. So another thing it does is prepare the students for the world of work. We all know now that the people on your work team may not be in the cubicles down the hall. Many times they may be across the state, across the country, or around the world. So this video conference experience is a great way to introduce your students to that kind of collaborative work together. So how do you start a collaboration? Well, the first thing you always do is start with your curricular goal. Most teachers already know that and do that because that is the whole focus of their lessons. And then you want to set up what the learning goals are for your students and also the partner class. What are you going to, you need to prepare, and what kinds of activities will take place. One of the things that we always encourage is that the activities are interactive. Video conferencing is interactive, and we like to extend that into those learning activities. So it can be questioning, it can be having the students in the other class do something. There are many ideas to use in the activities that you have or that you're using. What kinds of follow-up activities will you take place, and how will you assess the learning that has taken place? I'm going to move my little screen over here. Oops, one more. So types of projects. As I said, the teachers are so creative. You know, there's always the debate. You can read to each other or do some kind of performance, share local history. Game shows are a great way to talk, to get students involved in some kind of study that they're doing. One of the schools that was in my district when we were doing this it was a French class, and they did a mini local news program in French. And they had the sports from their school, they had the local news, things at their school, upcoming dances, all of those things. And they did it in French. And then the school they connected to also did the same thing. And it was a really nice way to, one, share information about their schools, but also practice speaking in French, writing in French, etc. And you can, of course, do that in any language. Another favorite project of mine is one at elementary, comparing weather, a New York school connecting to Arizona, and actually setting it up so they connect 3 or 4 times during the year, and go out in the fall, take some photographs of in New York with the leaves changing color and falling. In Arizona, the vegetation that they have. You can do it again in the winter when there's snow, and again in the spring when things are changing and the grass is getting green. Being from the north, that's what I think of. But in Arizona, they have completely different vegetation. So it's a great way to do science and weather, and also get to share with those students about each other's rooms, what they're reading, what they're doing in their classrooms. So collaborative projects are a great idea. And as I said, you can go in, you can create this collaborative project, and then anybody can sign up for it. The teachers can then begin to communicate and exchange ideas. So we also have what we call twice ask programs, and ask stands for author specialist knowledge. And it gives the students a chance to interview either the author of a book or a specialist from a book that they are reading. So this process was developed by Dr. Raymond Kettle from the University of Michigan, Dearborn. And we have been doing this in Michigan since 1998. So it's been a system that we've used quite a while. And he has specific things that he likes, that he has created in his process. And that is journaling about the book as you're reading it. And it, obviously you adjust this to your grade level. We have kindergartners and first graders doing the Ask program, but we also have, middle schoolers and high schoolers doing it. But you journal about your reading experience, your reactions. He always says, I don't want to know what's in the book. I've read the book. What I want are your reactions, some of your questions, the emotions you felt during this story. And then after the journaling, then from there you get in groups in your class and you begin to write down questions, that you want to ask the author. The idea of an interview with an author is not really to find out what their dog's name is. The idea in the interview of the author is to find out why did you choose a 10-year-old girl as your character? Or why did you, make the story so sad? Or why did you choose this specific event that you wanted to tell about? But as I said, it can also be a specialist. For example, you'll see on our page, I just have a picture of a weather book. Now, they do not interview the author of that book, but they talk to a NOAA weather person who answers their questions about weather. So it isn't always the author. It can also be a specialist. And we have the Twice Ask program scheduled at www.twice.cc. It's a very popular program. The students love it, but the authors also love it. I have a number of authors who come to my house who participate in this program, and they tell me how much they enjoy this program because they really get good questions from the students, and they're very focused on the book. They said sometimes when they go to a school visit, they get put on a stage in front of the whole student body, and many of them have not read the book, whereas all of the students who participate in this program have read the book. We only allow 4 classes for each session. There are usually multiple sessions because we really do want it to be interactive. We want the author to have a lot of questions, and we want the students to get a chance to ask their questions. Okay. Twice membership. Now, accounts in CAPSpace are completely free. Posting a collaboration is free. Read Around the Planet is free. We do have a Twice membership. We are a nonprofit organization, and we do charge for the Ask programs, but as a Twice member, it's 50% off. I run some seasonal collaborations, which I'll talk about in just a minute, and those are only for Twice members. You have access to a virtual meeting room if you would need it. You get a free professional development training for your school or your district with that membership. So as I say, Twice membership just enhances some of your experiences in CAPSpace. What are the seasonal collaborations? Well, the seasonal collaborations are much like Read Around the Planet. It's a matching event, and we run these during specific seasons of the year. For example, usually right away in the fall, we do Awesome Animals with like kindergartners and first graders where they tell about their favorite animal of their class. They can do that in many different ways. In October, we have Crazy Creature collaboration where you design a crazy creature and then you send instructions to your partner class. Some of you may be familiar with it. They call it Monster Match. They do, it has a number of names across the country. And then they create that creation from your directions, and they also make a creature, and send instructions to your class. And then the other half of that for the older students, that's kindergarten through 3rd grade. And then the 4th through 8th graders do a scary story symposium where they begin a story and then let their partner class finish it and exchange that during the video conference. Around the holidays, there's a custom exchange. We're getting ready to do Poetry Idol. I think that comes up in March or April. And the American Amazing States, that is also kind of a mystery quest. It's a way for students to learn about other states. And teachers sign up for a certain day or time, and then they're matched with another class to do that collaboration. We have 2 kinds of events in CAPSpace. They're what we call attending events, where students or educators show up at a certain day or time, and they register for the event, and usually there is a limit to the event. Again, we really want our video conferences to be interactive, so that's the reason for the limit. things that are attending events are the Twice Ask, the CAPSpace training, some experts and speakers, and some special events that we offer. And then the matching events, which are where you register, we find you a partner, and then you connect during your time to exchange your curricular lesson. And some of those examples are right around the planet, the seasonal collaborations, etc. And I've been involved in video conferencing since '97. So way back when we were using 6 ISDN lines, you're all too young to know what ISDN lines are, but it was a long time ago. So I really, it is a passion of mine. I really believe that video conferencing in schools adds such another dimension. And collaborating, I think, is just, it's a perfect way. It's the way the world works. So getting used to that in kindergarten is even a great training. So we support those 21st century communications with video conferencing, collaborating to learn, developing your communication skills, becoming a global citizen, and preparing for the world of work. I think video conferencing hits all of those so beautifully. And I just want to say thank you, Isti, for allowing me to tell you a little bit about CAPSpace. And now I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And if you're watching this over on a taped stream, you can certainly contact me, Sue, at twice.cc.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you for your email address. That's very helpful. I do want to say Sue is doing a great job. This is her first time using Zoom. So she is a beginner and she's doing a great job. So yeah, she knows several platforms as well. So this is another new one to add to her belt. We did have a question. Could you explain the cost in a little more detail? So one teacher, what would they do versus
Sure.
a district or?
We're running a promotion right now until the end of February, and you can get the details, but we have 3 levels, an ESA, and I know not everybody is familiar with ESAs. An ESA is what we call an educational service agency, and usually those service agencies serve many districts. So there's a price, and then the special is $300 for the next 18 months. So you won't be paying again until August of 2019. And ESAs, for some of you who, as I say, who aren't, New York has ESAs with their BOCES, Kansas has ESAs, Michigan has ESAs, Wisconsin, they have CISAs. We all have a little bit different name, but we all serve a number of districts. Then there's a district price, and when an ESA joins, you are, it covers everybody your ESA serves. When a district joins, it covers everybody your district serves. And then we have an individual membership for schools, for one individual school. So there are many options, and that help.
That discount, does it go for the districts as well?
It goes for the districts and the schools. Yep.
Okay. And was the district 50?
The district is $250 and the school is $125.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like, Jason, did you want me to read that question, or are you? I see.
Okay, so are all of the connections one-to-one? I missed if they were doing live stream.
Might have been muted there, sorry. Too many buttons to push. But I was wondering, with your connections, are they all one-to-one? Are you doing any live streaming? Were you doing one to a whole bunch at once, kind of like with YouTube or any other similar technologies?
No, well, they're not all one-to-one. When we have our matching events, it's one class to one class. Our Ask programs, we limit the number of participation each session to 4. Now, we usually run anywhere from 2 to 4 sessions during a day. But we do limit those to 4 classes, mainly because, as I said, we want it to be interactive, and we want all of the students to have a chance to ask a question of that author. So when we do professional development, we usually will take, 10 or 12 sites, but we have not done any streaming. We probably will do a little more video, taping of something. If we think that, if we have a special speaker, we probably will be doing that. As I said, we've been working so hard this year getting this site launched. To be really honest, we're behind in some of our activities. So, but yes, we will. I guess we do a little bit of everything, but more one-to-one classes and smaller groups.
Very good. We had another question, Sue.
Mm-hmm.
Are the collaborations through Zoom or through H323 or just whatever the school has? And how about the events, like the Ask events?
Okay, the Ask events are, I think they use LifeSite Cloud. And so, depending on what you have, we don't support like Google Hangout because it can only connect to Google Hangout. It has to be non-proprietary. So you have to be able to connect, like Zoom connects to Polycom, to Cisco, to, whatever. So that's what we are using right now, is anything that connect to any of those other solutions.
Yep. And if you guys aren't familiar with the LifeSite Cloud and you're familiar with Zoom, they're a lot alike. You'll get a link to a URL, you click on like Zoom, or you get that dial-in information and IP address if you are on an H323 device. So you get both.
Exactly. And we run the gamut in the CAPSpace. From somebody told me, they had an old unit they told me about the other day, but you know what? It's still working and it still connects and they're using it.
And you said you tried to dial with the H323 through Jabber. I have not tried Jabber with Zoom. I do know there's some legacy equipment that Zoom will not work with, like the old Polycom VSX 7000s. If the software is out of date on those, it won't connect. But any of the HD equipment, I know it will. I have not tried with Jabber. That's a good question. I don't think I ever had a Jabber account. I was more on the Polycom side and played with that. But yeah, I haven't tried. I didn't know that was still around.
Well, Jabber Video works in our Cisco network. So in our district, everything is Cisco Tamberg. And so I can hop into our network just from my laptop with Jabber Video, but not all of our schools have the nice video conferencing equipment. So sometimes I'll just bring my laptop to the school. So I'm kind of trying to get a gauge of like, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? So, just that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you want to do additional testing, you can holler at me. I've got a Zoom Pro account. I can throw up a meeting. I'll throw my email address in the chat.
And I have to let you guys. I'm happy to test with anybody too who wants to. We always do test calls, so it's important that we find out, because you're right. Sometimes some legacy equipment just does not work with something else.
Yep. And if you do use, and I don't know what, on your network, if you do bring your laptop, then you can just use the link to the to Zoom as well. Take out one of those pieces, trying to make it more complicated. Were there any other questions? This has been good. I know, have any of you ever tried a collaboration or posted one in CAPSpace before? I know some of my schools did a monster, it's kind of like the creepy creatures. We did a monster exchange. We've done, in December, we did a snowman exchange where they built their own snowmans. It's a great little project.
It is a nice little project because, as I said, it's individualized to you. You're the one who designs it. You're the one who posts it. And so that it fits the curriculum exactly the way you want it to. And it's a nice way. The kids get so excited to be talking to somebody New York or in Arizona or, Georgia or Texas. It's just, they really get excited about doing that. And I don't know, I just think it's one of the most popular pieces in CAPSpace because, as I say, it meets your needs directly. And the thing that's also nice is sometimes the idea is so good, a bunch of other teachers will sign up and they'll start pairing up. So it's a great way to give that little extra something to the unit that you're studying.
Oh yeah, and I think the monster and the snowman we adapted from somebody else that had posted it. They definitely weren't original ideas. Yeah.
But that's the fun part. At least my experience in video conferencing has always been everybody's willing to share, and everybody is so kind about giving you advice or help or about how you tackled a problem. I love that about this community.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Any other questions? And I know all of us at ISTE in the IVC group, we're all video conference oriented. So, I mean, definitely reach out if you need help with anything. We're all in the same boat, so we like to try new things as well and share ideas. I will real quick do a little promo. I'm excited. February 20th, we just announced for the IVC, CILC is going to host a NEPRIS session and talk about bringing STEM into the classroom. And if you haven't heard of NEPRIS, jump in or register. And just like this one, you can watch the recording if you can't make it on that date and time. But they're going to have a webinar, and NEPRIS matches teachers with different experts and industry professionals. So I think that's definitely worth watching. And then upcoming March 6th, we're going to do a tech chat and we're going to discuss Zoom. So if you use Zoom, or if you've never used Zoom, or you have questions or want to share what you've done with it, this is what we're going to do, and it'll be very open discussion, so we can share and chat. If you have problems like the Jabber one, bring it to this, and maybe someone else has had that same experience and has some ideas of what to do. So March 6th will be our tech chat, and I hope in the next few months we'll have some more tech chats. That's kind of new to us this year, so we're hoping it goes well. And then hopefully you got the email right before this. I was frantically working on getting it out. We did announce that the awards, there's 2 awards this year for the IVC that just opened today, and the nominations will close February 28th. But you can nominate yourself, or you can nominate a colleague. There's 2 different awards. One is for an educator, so a teacher, administrator, anybody in the school field. And then the second award will be for an informal educator, which would be a content provider. And anybody that's not, traditionally in that education environment, but works with education. So there's 2 different awards. You could win free registration to the conference this year. So if you've got, if you're doing some neat things, definitely fill out for it. If you know somebody that's doing some, fill out, go ahead and nominate them. It's pretty painless. Just, you got a little bit of information to submit, but not too bad. And then in April, we'll announce who won that. So you'll know prior to the conference. Anything else I'm missing, Jason or Tammy?
I was just I always like sharing horror stories, so I'm wondering if anything's ever weird happened on a CAPSpace video conference, some funny stories. We had some baby raccoons falling from the ceiling on one of our video conferences, so just curious if you have any fun stories.
I'll tell you one. When I first started in video conferencing, and I had brought in a speaker, and at that time, as I said, I'm really old, and so we were on ISDN lines, and we had 4 schools connected, and I had introduced the speaker and was watching the other schools, and we had them on TVs in the back, and all of a sudden, the one school got up and they all paraded out. And I thought, of course, your first thought is, oh my goodness, what did he say that could have offended somebody? Well, it turned out to be a fire drill. And so a few minutes later, you know, when you make a connection, the first thing that always happens is they do student announcements. I mean, it happens to all of us, and you just have to, but that was one of my first experiences, and I was panicked. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I mean, we've, you know,
fire drills. This Monday, I was sitting in an in-service with teachers over video conference. And during the one day, this poor teacher, she was in a district, they had 3 fire drills from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And she's like, I don't know why they chose today, but of course they won't let her stay in the building. So she's like, I'll mute, I'll be back. Sorry. 3 in one day. She's like, they've never done this.
We had, I have, for my program, my teachers teach from Egypt. And so I'm set up for training today, but the teachers have a similar studio. They teach the classes from Egypt, and my teacher's English is good, but they don't know all the nuances of an American school. So one day she calls me in the middle of a class and says, my students just disappeared. I don't know why, but they're just gone. And I was like, well, did they say anything? Did you hear anything? She's like, no, they just walked out, and I don't understand. Where did my students go? And so I had to like call the school and find out. And yeah, it was fire drill, and then I had to go explain to my teacher in Egypt the concept of a fire drill because they don't have emergency drills in Egypt. So yeah, we have fire drills and earthquake drills and storm drills, and we go out and they come back. So just hang on, they'll be back.
At least they muted, so it wasn't, and I've had classes that don't mute, and then they just have to stop class because there's just the bell.
She just like heard something. I don't know, because I wasn't on the line. She just called me and said like whenever there's a problem, they'll reach out to me. So she was just like, I don't know what happened. Why did my students leave? So yeah, maybe she did hear anything. Maybe she did hear the sound and she didn't connect it, but probably they did just like mute and say like, we're out of here.
Too funny. Jason, I like that idea, horror stories. We could probably just do
we could have a whole conference on horror stories.
a book on this one.
Yeah.
There's our next one. We can put together a book.
Okay.
Sell it.
Connected with a group in Cranbrook, I think it was. We were doing a museum to museum connection, and it was supposed to be anyone could wander through and talk to Casey. And we had a great group, and they were nodding along, and then they just got up and left because it was English as a second language. And they didn't actually understand they were just being polite. They didn't understand anything she was saying, apparently. But we found out after the fact.
Poor Casey. That's funny.
Well, you know, I guess in some ways that's what also makes our job fun. No, you know, nobody got hurt. Everybody was fine, and we all got a little giggle.
Yep. All right. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, I mean, feel free to email Sue as well. You've got her email. Check out the new CAPSpace. It is nice. I'm excited for all the new things that are going to pop up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Sue.
Thank you for having me. As I said, this was delightful, and as I say, I hope to hear from people and would love to have some more ideas. If you have some ideas for things you'd like to see in CAPSpace, I would love to have those come my way, and we will make those happen.
You guys do any foreign language education through CAPSpace?
We don't do any, you know, we don't do any foreign language education, but I know, you know, we have people who would post a collaboration looking for somebody who would like to connect and do something.
Yeah.
We don't exchange classes. You know, that's not part of what we're able to do at this point.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, there's a lot of times I see a lot of collaborations for like U.S. schools looking for connections outside of the U.S., you know, sometimes specific language areas or.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's always something, you know, one of the fun things that we have one teacher who does is she has a high school Spanish class, and part of their class is to write stories. And then she likes to get a connection of younger students, like first and second grade, and then they read the stories to the younger students. And that's, you know, that's a great language activity for both sides. So.
interesting, something to think about for my classes. But yeah, we're always looking to find schools or people that would be more open to having basically a remote teacher to offer foreign languages that they otherwise wouldn't be able to get on site. So we are more of a program than a fun exchange thing. But we do like to do fun exchanges for our students within the context of the classes.
Very good. And Sue, I've got one quick question.
Yes.
Is it too late to sign up for Reader on the Planet? It is, isn't it?
You know what? I am going to have to, because of our new website, I am going to have to open it tomorrow. I have, I always have leftovers. I'm going to open it tomorrow between 9 and 3 Eastern time. So you may go in and register tomorrow. And then I'm going to have to close it again at 3 o'clock because I need to get the matches out next week. But I always have, as soon as Read Around the Planet closes, somebody emails me, a teacher just sent me hers, and you know how that goes. And so I have about 5 or 6 teachers on my list, and they will be getting an email tonight that says Read Around the Planet will be open for more registrations between 9 and 3 tomorrow. So if there's somebody on the call who would like to register, hop right in there and do that.
Yay!
Yay!
There's your opportunity.
Yeah, there's your opportunity. Yeah. Thank you again. This was so much fun. And as I say, if you have any questions, sue@twice.cc. Easy to remember, but hard to remember the CC. Mm-hmm. When we first got this for our Twice email, that CC was going to be the up and coming new, address. I'm the only one I've ever seen that has that address. It's very strange. Oh,
yeah, I think, that's the only one I know.
Oh, I don't know where we got it, but it's easy to remember and easy to type.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Sue, and thank you guys for joining live and taking the time out of your busy schedules.
Thank you, everybody.